If you've ever opened Betfair and felt confused staring at the odds, numbers changing, and different formats all at once, you're not alone. At first glance, it can feel like a completely different language. But once you understand how Betfair odds actually work, everything becomes much clearer, and you start seeing patterns instead of confusion. Betfair is slightly different from traditional sportsbooks because it operates as a betting exchange. That means you are not just betting against the bookmaker, you are betting against other people. The odds you see are basically a reflection of what the market thinks is likely to happen. When more people back one outcome, the odds shorten. When fewer people back it, the odds drift higher. So unlike fixed odds sportsbooks, Betfair odds are constantly moving based on supply and demand. Now, the first thing you need to understand is that Betfair displays odds in decimal format. This is actually one of the simplest systems once you get used to it. Decimal odds show you exactly how much you will receive for every unit you stake, including your original stake. So if you see odds of 2.00, that means for every 1 unit you bet, you get 2 back if you win. That includes your original stake plus your profit. So your actual profit is 1 unit. If you see odds of 3.50, that means a 1 unit bet returns 3.50 in total. Your profit in that case is 2.50. The higher the number, the less likely the outcome is considered to be by the market. The lower the number, the more likely the outcome is considered to be. But Betfair takes it further, because you will often see 2 prices instead of 1. You will see something called back odds and lay odds. This is where many beginners get confused, but it's actually very logical once you break it down. Backing means you are betting that something will happen, for example, backing a team to win. Laying means you are betting that something will not happen. So if you lay a team, you are essentially acting like the bookmaker. You are saying, I don't think this team will win. So when you look at a Betfair market, you might see something like this. A team is offered at 2.10 to back and 2.12 to lay. The back price is what you receive if you want to bet on that outcome happening. The lay price is what you accept if you want to bet against it happening. The small difference between those two numbers is called the spread. That spread represents the gap between what buyers are willing to pay and what sellers are willing to accept. On very popular events, like big football matches, the spread is usually very small because there is a lot of activity. On less popular events, the spread can be wider because fewer people are trading. Now let's talk about how to actually interpret what these odds are telling you in real time. If a team's odds are dropping from 2.50 to 2.10, it means more people are backing that team. The market is gaining confidence that the team will win. This movement is often called shortening. On the other hand, if odds move from 2.10 to 2.60, it means people are losing confidence in that outcome. That is called drifting. So when you're reading Betfair odds, you're not just reading numbers, you're reading market sentiment. You are basically watching what thousands of people believe will happen in real time. To make this more practical, imagine a football match between Team A and Team B. At the start, Team A might be priced at 2.20, Team B at 3.10, and a draw at 3.20. These numbers represent implied probability, even though it's not shown directly. The lower the odds, the higher the implied probability. If you convert decimal odds into probability, you take 1 divided by the odds. So for example, 2.00 odds implies a 50% chance. If you take 4.00 odds, that implies a 25% chance. If you take 1.50 odds, that implies about a 66.7% chance. This is how bookmakers and traders think about probability behind the scenes. But Betfair adds another layer, because you are not forced to accept one fixed price. You can choose to place your own price. You can say, I want to back this team, but only if the odds reach 2.30 instead of 2.10. If the market reaches your price, your bet gets matched. If not, it stays unmatched. This is why Betfair feels more like a marketplace than a traditional betting site. Now let's talk about something very important: liquidity. Liquidity simply means how much money is available in the market at a given time. High liquidity means lots of money is being traded, which makes odds more stable and easier to enter or exit positions. Low liquidity means fewer participants, which can cause sudden jumps in odds. For example, a Premier League match will have very high liquidity. You might see millions matched on a single game. But a small lower league match might have much lower liquidity, meaning the odds can move quickly and unpredictably. Another key concept is something called trading on Betfair. Because odds move constantly, some users try to profit not just by predicting the final result, but by predicting how odds will move. For example, if you back a team early at 3.00 and later the odds drop to 2.00, you could potentially lay the same team back and lock in a profit regardless of the outcome. This is advanced behaviour and depends heavily on timing and market movement. But even if you are not trading, simply reading odds movement gives you insight into what is happening in the market. Sharp drops in odds often indicate strong information, like injury news, team lineup changes, or heavy betting from experienced traders. Now let's go deeper into understanding lay betting, because this is the part that makes Betfair unique. When you lay a selection, you are taking on liability. That means your risk is not just your stake, it depends on the odds. For example, if you lay a team at 2.00 with a 10-unit stake, your liability is also 10 units. But if you lay at 5.00 with a 10-unit stake, your liability becomes much higher because you are risking more if that outcome happens. So higher odds mean higher risk when laying. This is why understanding odds is not just about potential profit, but also about understanding risk exposure. Many beginners focus only on what they can win, but on Betfair especially, the real skill is understanding what you can lose and how the numbers balance each other. Another important detail is how Betfair removes the bookmaker margin in many cases. Traditional sportsbooks build in a margin so that odds are slightly worse for the player overall. On Betfair, because users are betting against each other, the market can be more efficient. However, Betfair charges a commission on winnings, which is how they make money. So instead of hidden margins in odds, you have transparent fees after winning trades. When you look at odds across different markets, you will notice patterns. Favourites usually have low odds, like 1.20 to 1.80. These indicate strong probability but low returns. Underdogs often sit at 3.00, 5.00, or even higher, meaning they are less likely to win but offer higher returns if they do. But it is very important not to misinterpret low odds as safe. Low odds still lose frequently in sports. They only indicate probability, not certainty. That is one of the biggest misunderstandings beginners have when reading betting odds. Now, let's connect everything together in a simple mental model. When you open Betfair, you are looking at three things at once: probability, money flow, and market opinion. The odds represent probability, the movement represents money flow, and the spread between back and lay represents market opinion differences. If you learn to read all three at the same time, the numbers stop feeling random. You start seeing behaviour. You start seeing how the crowd reacts to news, how confidence shifts before a match, and how markets stabilise closer to event time. As kickoff or game time approaches, odds usually become more stable because more information is available and the market has adjusted. Early odds are often more volatile because they are based on less information and more speculation. So, in summary, reading Betfair odds is not just about knowing what 2.50 means. It is about understanding decimal value, understanding back versus lay, understanding market movement, and recognizing how probability and money flow interact in real time. Once all of this clicks, Betfair stops feeling confusing and starts feeling like a live financial style market where every number tells a story. And the more you observe it, the more you realise that odds are not just numbers on a screen. They are a reflection of collective belief, constantly shifting as new information enters the market.